Hi, this is Rachel Nelson of the National Weather Service bringing you a weather briefing for the winter storm that we are expecting later this weekend into early next week. We're going to talk about the winter storm watch that has been issued for that time frame, the expected precipitation types, the below normal temperatures that are going to be associated with this storm as well as occurring after this storm, and then also the gusty winds in addition to those ice amounts that could cause some issues with trees and power lines. So first we'll talk about the winter storm watch. We've issued two separate segments of the winter storm watch. So the counties in the north in the yellow outline have a winter storm watch for heavy mixed precipitation. Snow and sleet accumulations could be 3 inches or greater with a tenth of an inch of ice possible. And then the eastern portion of the winter storm watch in the pink outline is mostly for the ice accumulations that could be up to a quarter inch with locally higher amounts. And both of these segments of the winter storm watch are valid for the same time period from 6 p.m. Saturday through Monday morning at 6 a.m. So since we are still experiencing some uncertainty with exactly how much snow and ice we're expecting, this storm system is still off the west coast at the moment. It has not even made it to the continental U.S., so it's difficult to know exactly how it's going to behave once it gets here. Our models aren't capturing it yet and things like that. So at this point, the most responsible thing to do is talk in terms of probability. So instead of giving what we call deterministic amounts of snow and ice to tell you there's going to be exactly this much or a range of these amounts, it's more accurate to give you a probabilistic look at this. So we'll talk about probabilities of different amounts. So this shows the probability of at least an inch of snow, so an inch or more of snow at the moment. We have about a 30% chance for at least an inch of snow in Springfield, and then that probability increases the further north that you go. So in our northern counties here in our area, they have somewhere in the 80% range for at least an inch of snow at the moment. And then if we look at the chance for 2 inches or more, Springfield goes down to 7%, 5% in Joplin, and then again increasing chances the further north that you go, some 50-60% chances up in our northern counties. And then if we talk about ice accumulation, we'll talk about the probability of at least a tenth of an inch of ice. So Springfield has a 25% chance for at least a tenth of an inch of ice at the moment, Joplin 6%, and then increasing amounts as you go to the northeast. So this shows why we have a separate segment for the winter storm watch for the eastern counties. The chance for ice, in addition to the other wintry precipitation types, it increases the further north and east that you go. So that is the probability for at least a tenth of an inch. And then if we look at the probability for at least a quarter inch of ice, those decrease, of course, but are still increasing as you move to the northeast. So 14% chance in Springfield at the moment, only 1% chance in Joplin, and then increasing up to the 50-60% chance range as you move to the northeastern counties in our area. Probabilistic winter storm severity index. So this is a tool that shows us the probability of travel impacts due to the winter weather. So if we look at the probability of minor impacts, the red hues are showing us a 60% chance of at least minor travel impacts or greater. So that first shade of red, the lightest shade of red, is 60%, and then it goes up from there into the darker shades of red. So Springfield is sitting at around a 50% chance for minor impacts. That just means that minor impacts means that you would have to exercise a little bit more caution when you're driving. It wouldn't be like your normal everyday sunny skies driving situation. So these have been trending upward with the probabilities for impacts. So Springfield's sitting at about 50% at the moment, and then again increasing probabilities as you go to the north and east, which matches up with our probabilities for snow and ice accumulations that we just looked at. And then the probability of moderate impacts, which is just a little bit more caution than minor impacts when on the road. So Springfield has less chance for moderate impacts compared to minor impacts, down in the 20% or so range. And then those probabilities are again higher the further north and east that you go. So as I said, this system is still off the west coast, and there is a lot of uncertainty on its exact track as it moves across the country. Now, the track of the system is going to determine everything. It's going to determine what precipitation types fall and where they fall due to the temperatures at that in any particular place. So as that storm system moves on shore and we start to get the models and the balloons sampling the system, we will start to get a much, much better idea of the exact track that it will take. And at that point, we will start to feel comfortable sharing more deterministic amounts for snow and ice and ranges and things like that. So here in the next couple of days, our forecast packages are going to start getting more detailed, more confident, and we will be sharing those with you as soon as we know that information. The warm air above the surface, again, it could shift with the track of the system, and that is going to determine everything about precipitation type. Along with the precipitation, we're expecting some pretty high wind gusts, and that can become a problem when there's ice accretion on the power lines and the tree branches and things like that, as the wind blowing on those things that are laden with ice could cause a problem and cause more damage than otherwise would happen with just the ice. So that is another thing that we will be keeping an eye on. And then again, in addition to the precipitation, we will have much below normal cold temperatures. So regardless of what kind of precipitation falls, since as I mentioned, there is a little bit of uncertainty there, we are very confident in this scenario happening. We're very confident that the temperatures will be very, very cold compared to normal as the system moves through and for several days afterward. We're looking at 15 to 25 degrees below normal. We usually have highs in the 40s around this time of year, and we're looking at highs in the 20s. We usually have lows in the low 20s, and we are going to have forecast lows down in the single digits and low teens next week. And with the wind chill, as I mentioned, it will be a bit windy. The wind chill could be up to 10 degrees colder even than the low temperature. So keep this in mind, something to prepare for now. Make sure that you have all of your precautions taken to keep yourselves and your pets warm, and vulnerable populations should be have extra care taken to protect them during this period as well. Here are a couple of the minimum wind chills that we're looking at. So for Sunday night, things could get down to 0 in Springfield, down to 5 degrees or so in the south, and then 0 degrees or even a few degrees below 0 up in the north. And then Monday night, we're looking at very similar temperatures, maybe even a few degrees colder, especially down here in Springfield and farther south. So that is what we know right now for this winter storm. Do what you can to prepare to, even if you don't know the exact scenarios of what's going to play out, we have a general idea of what is headed our way. So there are things you can do now to prepare. Make sure that you stay up to date with us on our forecasts on Twitter and Facebook and on our website. This briefing will be posted to YouTube and shared on Twitter and Facebook as well. Let us know if we can do anything to help, and everyone stay safe out there.